What's up guys, Hamsterwheel here with a new video, and today I'm doing a video for old time's sake, I guess. A while ago I made a quick video regarding Feenix's new Warsong server, and after about 15 minutes of playing I stopped and moved on to whatever else project I was working on. However, I've been thinking about leveling a character on this server one last time, because even though I trashed Feenix in the past, the Warsong server really was my first private server that I joined ever. So it's time to bring up some old memories and at the same time see if anything has changed quality-wise on this server over the last few years. I decided to roll with something a bit unconventional, a Tauren Hunter, which is totally not related to Dr. Nomad in any way or form. Okay, well, maybe a little. Anyway, we're once again starting off in Red Cloud Mesa to kill some Planestriders, and what do you know? They're not working correctly. Let's just keep on moving. Now, because this server is 8 times leveling rate, you level up pretty darn fast, and within 10 minutes I was already level 4. Also, this hunter trainer says he does not have the knowledge to train me anything, yet when I click on him he actually trains me abilities. What the hell? The next quest I got was to kill some mountain cougars, and I was happy to see that they were working correctly, so I don't know, it might just be that one mob for that first quest that is broken. The next day I logged in, and what do you know, we got some gold sellers here from that ever so honest and totally not scamming Oko Games website. I've seen them on Dalaran WoW before, and it seems like they've flooded the Feenix servers as well. What a shame. Next I was killing these quill boars and testing the line of sight and pathfinding on these thorns. And what do you know, I can't shoot the mob that is right in front of me, and when he runs towards me he actually runs through the thorns only to pop up later. Like seriously, this kind of pathfinding is pathetic. I tried another one and got the same result. Now I can't even hit this battle boar right here, even though there's nothing blocking my sight. This has always been an issue on the Feenix servers, and it seems that after years they still haven't done anything about it. Considering the stiff competition Feenix has, this is pretty much unacceptable. After a while I arrived at Bloodhoof Village. Time to pick up some quests and keep on leveling. Also, now that I'm level 10, I can start doing the Hunter quest chain, and after accepting that and learning my skills, I realized that you can just learn everything right from the trainer, which means the quest is obsolete. Kind of a shame, as I never really minded these types of quests, but considering it's an 8 times leveling rate server, I kind of understand why they decided to just give you the stuff right away. Time to get myself a pet then. Wolfie, I choose you. Hope I can get it before this guard kills it. Oh, god damn it. Alright, let's try that again. There we go. Now, to give it a fitting name. Perfect. I also decided to pick up skinning, and it looks like the professions here are set to 1 times rate. I would have liked it to be 2 or 3 times rate, as this means you have to backtrack to lower zones in order to keep up your professions, since you level very fast. And now that we're out of the starting zone, I can pick up some quests that require a bit more than just killing mobs, as I know the general killing quests probably work just fine. It's all about those more complicated quests that really determine how much the devs have worked on the leveling content. So we're starting off with the Rites of Vision, where there needs to be a ghost that spawns and walks towards a cave up north. So here we go. Man, does he walk slow. He just went right over the ladder. Did you guys see that? Finally we're here, and it seems like this quest works okay. A few more quests later and I'm off to the crossroads. So at the crossroads we're once again starting off with killing some Planestriders. I'd like to point out that the drop rate of the beaks seems on point of retail vanilla, as it did take me some time to get all the beaks, so that's good. When I walked back to the crossroads, the town looked awfully empty, and then I realized why. Oh god, we're back to this again. Luckily the server was back up again in a few minutes and I could keep on killing them Planestriders. Here we are getting some fungal spores. Ah yes, the days of vanilla, where quest objects didn't have a giant light show around them and you actually had to pay attention and look around. So we're back at Thunderbluff to deliver off some spores, and it seems I was just in time to witness this raid moving from Thunderbluff to wherever they were going. This is a good sign, as it shows that there are people here that are willing to put a lot of time in the server and are willing to raid here. So moving on with the leveling, we have to summon Echiaki, and that seems to work just fine, just like testing the dried seeds for the stagnant oasis quest, and placing the feathers for the raptor quest. And of course, since we're in the Barrens, I could not skip over finding Magrick's wife for the millionth time and telling him the bad news. I've also decided to pick up fishing to see if that's working correctly, and I'm delighted to see that all seems well here on Warsong. Also, these gazelles make for quite the ballet dancers. Later on, we find ourselves at level 25 in the Stone Talon Mountains. For this quest, we need to clear this area a bit, which is a nice opportunity to check out the pathfinding once more, so let's see how this goes. Alright, that looks pretty good. He actually walks up the plank normally. That went fine as well. And that one. And that one. Wow, to be honest, I'm quite surprised how well the mobs follow the stairs compared to when I was killing quail boars at level 4. I guess it's not that bad after all. It also seems that the Dark Moon Fair is here all the time, so you can go there every day at least once to pick up your 10% damage buff that you will have for 2 hours. After that, we find ourselves in Orgrimmar, which is always a good benchmark on how populated the server is, and it looks pretty decent. There's a few raiding guilds I've spotted, and even though just like any other Feenix server it says 49 people, when you want to check out how many people there are, it's probably a bit more than that, so I guess that's not too bad. And there was a mount train going on, which I'm always a big fan of. Unfortunately, I didn't have a mount, so I couldn't join the fun. Oh well, maybe at level 60. It also became quite clear that there was a lot of spamming going on from those wonderful people from Oko Games, which is definitely something you want on your server. Moving on, we arrived in Taris, where we're doing the iconic Battle of Hillsbrad quest chain. Killed some farmers, killed some peasants, and while I was there murdering these pathetic Alliance peasants, I came along someone else, so we teamed up and we wreaked havoc on the fields of Hillsbrad in the name of the Dark Lady. After that, I killed some blacksmiths, and last but not least, infiltrate the humans' town center and destroyed their documents and took their town registry. I was pleased to see that all the things that required more than just killing mobs worked flawlessly. Speaking of iconic quests, here's another one I could not skip over without truly experiencing what it's like to level on a vanilla server. And the quest I'm talking about is Halcular's Rod. Yeah, remember that quest that took you 1,000,000 Yetis to get? Well, let's see if the drop rate on the server is also retardedly low. And begin. I got it in 3 mobs. 3 mobs. Well, I guess they upped the drop rate, or I'm just lucky as hell. Moving on to the second quest, Charging Them Flames. Here's the Flame of Azel, the Flame of Veraz, and last but not least, the Flame of Uzul. Alright, now we just gotta find Halcular's grave and avoid the guards at South Shore at all cost. Come on. There we go. Time to get the hell out of... Ah, shit, there's a guard. Come on, you lazy tarn, move your ass. Ah, there we go. We did it. Meanwhile, in the Hinterlands... Alright, enough of that. Time for another nostalgia moment. Nessingwary's camp in Stranglethorn Vale. We're here to do the Mastery quest, because you can't skip over the Mastery quest if you're leveling on a vanilla server. You just can't. It's almost blasphemy if you do. That, and you get some decent items for a hunter at the end of the quest chain, so I'm all for that, which is another thing I want to talk about. Since you are leveling up 8 times faster than normal, you outgear yourself way too quick, and that's one of the biggest downsides of fast leveling. Now on retail, or let's say a Mist of Pandaland server, this isn't a problem, because even the biggest retard could kill stuff in crap gear without a problem, but on vanilla servers, gear actually matters a lot, especially for melee classes. So yeah, you really need to look out for quests that give you some gear, or else leveling will be hard as shit. One thing I almost forgot to mention is that all the skills and abilities at the trainer don't cost any money. And I like this because on the old Warsong server you had 12 times leveling rate and all the spells cost money. So you ended up being level 60 and only have a few abilities maxed out, which meant getting money and trading the rest of them. So yeah, free skills go well with a high rate leveling server in my humble opinion. Also, what is my pet doing here? God damn it, Feenix. Next day, when I logged in, oh, for the love of God! Anyway, I started making some decent money here, and that's mainly because I went out of my way to level my skinning. So if you plan on leveling here, then I urge you to pick up a gathering profession to make some money. I also like to mention that there's not a whole lot of stuff on the auction house, and the stuff that's on there is usually overpriced considering what item you're getting it for, which is not exactly the best thing for a new leveler on a private server like me. After a while of playing, I got to level 40. Unfortunately, I did not have enough money for a mount, even with the extra money I made from selling all the stuff in the auction house. So I guess I have to settle with walking for now. After hitting level 42, I went back to Orgrimmar and I was just in time to get the rallying cry of the Dragon Slayer buff. Lucky me. When I arrived at Thunderbluff, it was nice to see that the sound bug is still there on the server after all these years. And with that I mean you can hear swords clashing. All the time. Now that we're back in Stranglethorn Vale, it's time for, oh god, not this quest. Not the quest that has driven many Hordes mad to the point where they are now homeless and living in a ditch. Not the quest that had so many comments on Thoughtbot of people raging about the drop rate. Yeah, I'm talking about the Aged Gorilla Sinew quest. The quest where you have to find an aged gorilla sinew, but the drop rate is so ridiculously low that it takes forever to get one. Well, in order to really experience vanilla leveling, we have to do it. So, cue the music. Come on. Oh, god damn it. Okay, that's it. I'm fucking done. Fuck that quest. Well, at least we got to level 46. Which reminds me you have to go back to Orgrimmar and train some new spells. And I'd like to take the opportunity to point out another weird thing, which is this. So here we are in Taris. Time to kill some bandits. And while we're in this place with all these old runes, I figured I'd check out the pathfinding once more. And everything seems to work fine. Now of course we can't be leveling in Taris and not do the ever so memorable pirate quests at the shore of Taris. Ah yes, this place was another hotbed for gankers, corpse campers and other scum. Luckily there was no one there. Which is also a little disappointing, because this was always one of the places where you expect to see other players running around. Up next we have the Gadget Sand Survey quest. We have to use this item and mobs will spawn. Let's see if this works correctly. And yes, they do spawn. But they won't follow me. Huh. Moving on, we're here in another iconic zone for me, and that is Feralas. I'm not sure why, but I always consider this to be Mulgore 2.0. Maybe because there's a bunch of tar in here, and it's right next to Mulgore, and well, a few other things. I came here to do a few quick quests so I can get to level 50 or something, so I can move on to the Hinterlands. So I went off to kill some Yetis, and hoping I might get that homing beacon for that escort quest, as that would be a great benchmark to see how the quests work here on Warsong. And unfortunately I did not get that homing beacon, but I did turn level 50, and before I move on to the Hinterlands, I'd like to backtrack to 1000 Needles, because there's a quest I skipped that is a really good one in terms of dialogue, scripting and all that jazz. I'm talking, of course, about the quest Free at Last. How many times people accepted this quest and thought they could do it solo and then got their asses kicked. If I had a dime for every time that happened. So here we are at the first place where mobs should spawn, and there you go. They spawn perfectly and she pops the correct dialogue. Second spot also works fine. I'm actually amazed. Well, apart from that right there. And after some hilariously bad pathfinding from Lakota Windsong herself, I actually completed the quest. So it seems like the quest itself works just fine. It's just that the pathfinding on bridges is completely retarded here on the server. And remember, they've had this stuff up and running for years and years. After that interesting experience, we find ourselves in the Hinterlands, starting off with killing some trolls. No biggie. And again, the pathfinding is all over the place. Here we are at Large Lunch, where 3 trolls should spawn when I open the basket. And they do spawn. Now, let me just kill off one. Get the item. Then run off and feign death. I died. That was quick. Yeah. 2 execute hits for a total of 800 damage. No wonder I died so quickly. Alright, let's see what's in the basket. A new gun and a new cloak. Too bad the cloak looks like shit, but oh well. And there we have it, level 52. Just 8 more levels to go. Making a quick stop here in the other city, and I noticed something. Here we have Gerard Abernathy, and right next to him is Mindslave Theresa. You heard me. He has a Mindslave. That is fucking awesome. Moving on to Ungoro Crater, a zone which I'm not exactly fond of, but it's kind of a filler zone before I hit Ashara. I guess I always found this a bit bland, because the quests here are a little boring, and it basically looks like Feralas 2.0, which in my logic basically means a Mulgore 3.0. I have to admit though, these Devil Stars are freaking badass. Here we are in my favorite zone, Ashara. Such a beautiful zone. Too bad Blizzard decided to do almost nothing with this zone in terms of quests. Still though, there's a few we can do. Our first order of business here is to kill some Blood Elves. That is, the old version of the Blood Elves. You know, the ones that look like garbage. Yeah, those. Anyway, killed some more, destroyed a crystal, and eventually got the head of Mage's Rimtori. Also, when I went back to Orgrimmar, a fellow hunter notified me that on his screen I was riding a wyvern when on my screen nothing wrong was going on. So it seems the visual bugs here are present as well. Next up we're gonna steal... Wait, let me check. Hey Ty Lopez, what are we stealing again?
Knowledge.
That's right, knowledge. So we can get more gold. I mean fuel units. And there we have it, level 57. Just 3 more levels to go. Time for what's probably the last or second to last zone I'll visit for our leveling journey. Winterspring. First we gotta get some Yeti furs. And that quest worked fine. Killed some Winterfell mobs, and the pathfinding was wonky once again, and eventually got myself to level 59. Now for the last level I'm moving to Silithus, a barren wasteland filled with Twilight cultists, and Ankh-Kiraj at the most southern part. A mystical place filled with... Oh god damn it, Phoenix. Oh well, let's get one more quest and get to level 60. So for the last quest we're doing nothing interesting, just a simple gathering quest where we need to collect some tablet fragments. After we got that handed in, we go to Hermit Hotel, give him the restored tablet, and there we go, level 60. At long last, we reach level cap. Also, fuck that Alliance rogue. Now that we're level 60, we're going to train our spells, and through the use of vote points, get some sweet gear. Oh yeah. And speaking of which, now it's a good time to talk about being able to vote for gear on the server. It's a bad thing. Wait, what? How could I say that when I'm the one who voted to get all this shit? Well, here's the thing. For someone like me, who just wants to get some pre-raid best in slot gear so I can check out raids briefly for a video or two, and yes, that's coming up, it's a great way to get some quick gear without spending weeks in dungeons. So, for a YouTuber like me, it's great. But it's not doing any good for the community and how alive the server feels, because what happens when you can get gear easily through voting? Everyone just starts voting, because that is much less time consuming than doing said dungeon over and over again for maybe 1 or 2 items. Because of this, there's barely anyone doing normal dungeons, and that's a pain in the ass if you actually want to experience all the content here. Well then, all that is left for me to do is actually do some dungeons and maybe experience a raid or 2 to see what it's like. As of right now, I guess I can give you a verdict on what it's like to level here. To be honest, I'm kinda disappointed because I expected better. Feenix had their old Warsong server up for years, and they had a great opportunity to start with a clean slate with their new Warsong server. They had years to iron out all the bugs and release a solid high rate leveling server, but what I experienced so far is just the same old shit that I experienced when I first started leveling here. It wasn't all bad though. Many quests worked fine, the skills and abilities of my hunter seemed to work fine, and I did have a lot of fun leveling here, so I'm glad I gave it another shot. So, yeah, it's a mixed bag. I expected better from Feenix, and so far they have failed to deliver. Maybe the dungeons and the raids will be a completely different story, and there's really only one way to find out, so stay tuned for my dungeon/raid experience video here on Warsong. Until then, I want to thank you for watching this video. I'm Hamsterwheel, and have a good one.